Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this licensing subcommittee on the 16th of May. I'm Councillor Jill Haynes. I represent the Chalk Valleys Ward, which is a large area of farms in the middle of the area of Dorset Council. And I'm now going to ask if there are any proposals for a chair for this meeting.
I would like to propose yourself as chair for this particular meeting.
Thank you.
Happy to take that.
Thank you very much.
All those in favour?
So I'm going to start with some introductions. I would like to say that it is a formal meeting, but we try to keep it as a situation where people can be as comfortable as possible so that you can make sure that you say what you need to say at the meeting. So let's just do some introductions down here, my fellow members of the committee, and I'll start on this side.
Well, my name's David Shortell and I represent the ward Westmoors and Three-Legged Cross, which is way over to the east, a long way away.
Sarah?
I'm Councillor Sarah Williams and I'm the Bridport Ward Councillor, so you'll know where Bridport is, I'm sure.
Okay, we've got a number of council officers with us, so let's start with our clerk.
John Miles, Democratic Services. I'm taking the minutes for the meeting.
And the legal representative?
That's me, that's Hannah Massey.
Sorry, say that louder, Hannah.
Hannah Massey.
Right, thank you. It's this room. I'm sorry, we haven't got loudspeaker, the microphones with us today. And our report author and the licensing team senior officer.
Yeah, Roy Keepax, senior licensing officer, and report that report.
Thank you. And now I'd like to ask the parties and the representatives in attendance to introduce themselves. And we'll start with the applicant and their representatives.
Charlie Harris, Brady Farm.
Morning, I'm Mark Burton. I'm just here as an unofficial advisor to Charlie.
Okay, thank you. And
hello, I'm Chelsea Wadeson and I'm from...
Okay, thank you very much. At the moment, we don't have any of the responsible authorities here today, so they're not going to be able to introduce themselves. I think we will just go down. We have some people who have an interest here who wish to speak, so we'll go down this line as well.
Paul Titley, Park Warden at Graston Copse Holiday Park.
Thank you.
Andrew Bailey, Graston Farm, adjoining Breedy Farm.
Thank you.
Mark Havelock Allen, Graston House, which is next door to Graston Farm.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'd like to go over a couple of points. So this is a public meeting and it is being live streamed on YouTube. It's a structured meeting to ensure the fairness to all parties, and I will ensure that each party has a chance to speak. The order of speaking is set out in page 4 of our agenda. Could you please only speak when I invite you to? I don't really want to have cross arguments as we go through the meeting. Those of you who have got mobile phones, would you please put them on silent? Can't be dealing with any of that while it's going on. I've just probably should just do a bit of fire stuff while we're in here as well. So fire exit is out. Most of you came in that way, is out that way, and hear the fire alarm. We haven't got any drills expected today. Should go in that direction. And access to toilet facilities should anybody desperately needing them through those doors and a bit further up the corridor on the outside here. So I think that's about all I've got to say as far as the safety side of things go. So let's get on with the formal meeting. Do we have any apologies?
No apologies for this meeting.
Thank you, John. And councillors, do either of you have any declarations of interest?
No.
Thank you.
For me.
No? Yep. Excellent. We do not have any urgent business to attend to before we move into this case. So the case before us today, I'm now going to ask the licensing senior officer to outline the details of the application, including any details of withdrawn representations. So over to you, Roy.
Okay, so this is a hearing to consider a full variation application for Breedy Farm, Burton Bradstock. The license number is WDPL 0666. The Licensing Act sets out section 4 that the authority must carry out its licensing functions with a view to promoting the licensing objectives. That is the prevention of crime and disorder, the prevention of public nuisance, the protection of children from harm, and public safety. The license currently allows performance of live music indoors and outdoors, Friday and Saturday, 1100 to 23:45, and on Sunday, 5. Playing of recorded music indoors and outdoors, Monday to Sunday, 11 to 0200 hours, and supply of alcohol on and off the premises, Monday to Sunday, 0900 to 0200 hours. The variation application is to amend the following, which is the supply of alcohol on and off the premises, Monday to Wednesday, 0900 to midnight, and Thursday to Sunday, 0900 to 0400 hours. The applicant has not proposed any amendments to the existing operating schedule or the other conditions of the license. The application form is attached to Appendix 1. No representations have been received from the responsible authorities. However, the local planning authority have noted that in 2024, an application was made to vary the conditions that control the operating hours at the premises under planning legislation. A copy of this decision notice and accompanying officer report can be found at Appendix 3. There were 3 relevant representations received from members of the public, including one from a nearby business and a further email from the managing director, who was to support the initial representation from the site manager. The representations were made on the licensing objectives of prevention of public nuisance, crime and disorder due to noise, and antisocial behaviour and public safety. Their comments can be found at Appendix 4. There were no withdrawal representations. It does need to be mentioned that some of the representations included concerns that have been due to music noise. This application is for the supply of alcohol, and any comments or concerns must relate to this. Any comments that relate to regular entertainment cannot be taken into account when making a decision today. Section 7 of the report sets out the options that are available to the subcommittee after they have considered all the information contained in the report, the written representations, and anything that is said at this hearing. Finally, I just want to draw to your attention to part of paragraph 9.44, the guidance as quoted in paragraph 6.4 of the report. It is imperative that the authority ensures the factors which form the basis of its determination are limited to consideration of the promotion of the objectives and nothing outside those parameters. The licensing authority is expected to come to its determination based on an assessment of the evidence on both risks and benefits either for or against making the determination.
Thank you, Roy. So we now have a situation where we can ask the officer some questions. And I will go through in the order of members of the subcommittee, then the applicant, and then other interested parties. What you will not be able to do is say your spiel at this point. It's purely questions. So I just want to make that quite clear. So have we got any questions from the committee?
Not for me at the moment.
No.
No, none from myself. Mr. Harris, do you have any questions? No?
Not at all.
Okay. And then Mr. Titley?
Nothing, no.
No. And Mr. Cox?
He's not here.
He's not here. Who is it representing the caravan park?
Mr. Titley.
Right, thank you. And Mr. Havelock Allen?
No questions, thank you.
No? And you said you have?
No questions.
Thank you very much. So next, I will ask the applicants to present their case, if you would please, Mr. Sutton.
We run a campsite on the farm. We have a barn. We have the license, which Roy has
Projected it.
Sorry,
described.
I'm sorry, we don't have any microphones in here, so you have got to project your voice a bit.
I don't want to change the entertainment side of things, the noise or anything at all. This is purely the sale of alcohol on a Friday and Saturday night. For when everything's finished, people can just stand around the bar and have a nightcap. The music's off, people meet on the dance floor. They might want to buy someone a drink. It's very simple. We're not changing our operation at all. It is purely for the sale of just maybe one more drink at the end of the night. At the moment, 2 o'clock comes, the music's off, it's all done, everyone out the door. A bit crass, be better. And I thought maybe just maybe a little bit more might be.
Okay.
Perhaps I might add here, it's not like a public house with a static population. These are holiday makers coming to the site for holiday recreation purposes. And of course, many of them have travelled long distances. So there are a lot of people who do arrive quite late in the day. Of course, with the extended hours, it does give them a bit more time to enjoy themselves.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, on that very point then, I've got some questions. So my first question is, you say the tourists mostly, which I can quite understand. Why have they travelled long distances to come there? Are they not kind of local?
No, very few. We have a campsite. So we have.
That's what I mean, but are they not staying on the campsite?
They
They're
are staying on
they're
the
not like driving from Leeds and back to see you.
No, they're coming down and they're staying on the campsite, and this is the bar from the campsite.
Okay. And do you think that by extending this, I see there have been concerns about noise when people leave. Do you think that will make the city worse because they're being louder later than early hours?
Not everyone will stay. When the music's over, everyone leaves. But a few people like to hang around the bar and maybe have one more drink.
Okay.
That's yeah.
Yeah. Councillors, have you got any questions?
Yeah.
Sarah?
Yeah, do you have a sort of dedicated drinking up time from last service to at the moment?
A dedicated drink.
Well, so let's say you buy your last drink at 5 to 2. When do you actually throw everybody out? I mean, do they have half an hour to drink up or?
No. We have everything's in takeaway cups, and we've got a license, so they can just leave with their drinks and go back to the campsite with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's no glassware at all. It's all plastic.
So when your time for the last serving of alcohol, which is currently 2, do you tell them at 1:45 that it's closing at 2, and then you encourage them out of the door shortly after 2, or how does that work?
We turn the music off, we turn the lights up, and no one gets served a drink.
Okay,
It's very abrupt. It all ends at the same time.
David?
I just wanted to ask if you've got any verbal or written notification about leaving quietly after they finish their drinks and return to their accommodation.
There are signs during our festival events. We have signs up asking people to, if they're walking home into the village. But this is a different site. We have very few people from the village. It really is for our campers, and they walk from the farm across the road away from our neighbours. Occasionally, we do get people back into the village, but very occasionally.
Hopefully, if they've been drinking, none of them are driving.
That's why we have a campsite.
Okay, licensing team, senior officer. Would you have any questions? Anybody who's made a representation, have you got any questions at this stage, please?
Not directly at this point, no.
Not at that point.
No, thank you.
Okay. Well, as I've said, we haven't got any police or environmental health here to speak today. Licensing team leader, we've asked you, and you haven't got any more to say on this topic at the moment.
Nope.
So I'm now going to ask any person who's made a representation and indicated they wish to speak to come forward. I don't know whether you're going to do this as one spokesperson for all of you, or you're going to come as individuals.
I think we're going to go one at a time.
One at a time, up to
I'd be
you.
allowed to go first,
They're
because
individual.
I'll be quite short.
Okay, come forward. Thank you. However, it would be very helpful to the hearing if you would perhaps not repeat what somebody else has said already, because we kind of get the gist of it.
Well, I hope I won't spoil what they have to say by what I'm going to say, and it's very short. Can I start, please, by admitting to having taken a bad point in the public comments which I filed with you? At the time I wrote them, I hadn't seen the footprint for this license for which variation is sought, and I thought it covered the whole of Breedy Farm. I now realise it actually covers only the buildings within the farm itself. That is really the cider shed and the rattle shack. So that was a bad point by me. So far as public nuisance is concerned, can I just make the following observations? If the music entertainment has to stop at the latest at midnight or 2 a.m., depending upon which day of the week it is under the relevant license, I suggest that allowing a further 2 hours of drinking after that is disproportionate and excessive. We all know what the problems are with drinking. It tends to lead to boisterous behaviour, sometimes at best, and this is amongst holidaymakers who don't have to go to work the next day. And so there is a risk of increased noise, and there's always a risk that someone will suggest, and it's difficult to control, let's have one more tune after the cut-off time for the music. And the Rattle Shack, which is the summer bar, which is immediately adjacent to Breedy Lane, is open air on one side, and sound does travel very far at night out in the countryside. Now, the stated aim is to allow longer drinking time for those in particular who are staying in the campsite, which is just across the road. And I quite accept that they don't have very far to go to their tents from the bar in question. But there's been no suggestion put forward by Charlie Harris that in some way this extension to the license might be managed by a form of members only or residents only restriction. This will be a bar that is open for a further 2 hours if this application is allowed, from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. to anybody who's prepared to come and buy a drink. And it will first of all, of course, apply during the period of the annual festivals. There are 4 of them. They last for 3 days on the bank holidays and on 2 other weekends in the summer. And that takes place at Breedy Gate, which is a field on the far side of the hill beyond Breedy Road. And people who are in the campsite there, they tend to camp on the site of the festival and come down the hill, cross up the lane to the farmyard, where the bar will be open for a further 2 hours if this application is allowed. So we're talking potentially not just about the campsite residents, but also the festival goers during festival time. That's quite a lot of extra people. And I'm concerned, since I'm the nearest neighbour to the west, about the noise and disturbance implications. But more seriously, my objection focuses on the crime and disorder element as well. When news spreads, if this application is allowed, the Breedy Farm is a place where on weekends you can buy a drink until 4 a.m. I suggest, but you will know better than I, that there are very, very few establishments, if any, in this part of Dorset where you can buy alcohol at a bar between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. And there will be people undoubtedly who will treat this as a magnet, as a place where they can go to get a late drink. Now, there has been, I'm told, but I didn't know about it until I read some Instagram traffic over it. One incident where Charlie had to get rid of some undesirables, and all power to him that he did. But this sort of extension, so late into the early morning, is likely only to attract a similar problem in the future. But I just invite the committee to step back when you've heard the representations against and just look at this in the round. I suggest to you that anybody in the licensed trade or running a bar or a disco or a nightclub in, for example, Bridport or in Dorchester or in Weymouth will give their eye teeth to have a licensing extension to 4 a.m. I don't believe anybody has. And that's notwithstanding that, of course, in an urban setting, most licensed premises are either enclosed or semi-enclosed. And this is actually a bar which is open to the air. This is something which I suggest you wouldn't begin to consider for one moment granting in any urban setting. And so I do ask rhetorically how this could possibly be acceptable in an area of outstanding natural beauty in the middle of the Dorset countryside. Now, I don't blame Charlie at all for having applying, because if you don't apply, you can't get. But I suggest that 2 in the morning is quite generous and also quite late enough.
Members of the committee, do you have any questions for the Happer Fallon?
Not for me.
Mr. Harris, do you have any questions?
No.
No? Okay, sorry, Mr. Kippax, do you?
No, I don't have any questions.
I think what we have to realise is that when we're looking at this application, we are very restricted as to what else we can look at. So it's not a question of what else there is in the area. We're just purely looking at this application. So we have to
Yeah, every application is treated on its own merits, regardless
Just
of
to
what
be-
other.
specific on that one. But thank you very much for your time and coming to speak to us. And next person.
Andrew?
Introduce yourself again, please, just for the
Yes.
recording.
Yes, Andrew Bailey. I live at Graston Farm, which adjoins Reedy Farm. And I suspect that the main farm buildings where most of the entertainment activity takes place would be about 250 to 300 meters away. So the objection was actually lodged by my wife, Christine Bailey, but she asked if I would represent her and speak to the objection which has been lodged with yourselves, which I assume you've already read. So I won't attempt to just repeat that. But I got a few comments which I'd like to add to that representation. Starting off really with the fact that about 5 years ago, I did question the hours of permitted entertainment with environmental health. And part of the response was that the applicant had said that music was needed to generate more alcohol sales, and that's where the profit actually lay, and was obviously needed to pay the bills. Obviously, whenever there's a pause in that music, then the noise from people, i.e. yelling, shouting, shrieking, does get much louder and more noticeable. And obviously, the later we go into the evening, into the morning, then noise is going to travel further because of ambient noise levels declining to virtually zero. So it's not about music. I realise that's not an issue here because that's not what this application is about. But we have obviously noted from social media posts of the applicant that in fact there are a certain number of outside guests that do come to Breedy Farm for late night entertainment, including alcohol. And obviously there's been trouble there, which suggests that the security up to now hasn't been as good as it could be, because one of the other issues, which does mention music, but whenever we've complained, and others would have complained as well, about the noise continuing until 4 a.m. This has happened on several occasions, and environmental health have come back to us saying that the blame was put on customers on site actually playing music themselves, whether it be with the applicant's own equipment or their own. I wouldn't know, and they didn't know. But nonetheless, that does show that there is a problem after the permitted hours have ended. And security control is definitely lacking. So we are obviously concerned about customers leaving Breedy Farm, and this would apply more to those that aren't staying on their, and I should say unregulated campsite. But it would apply to people that might have come from Bridport or maybe just the village. But nonetheless, they try to follow the footpath which goes across Creston Farm. And numerous occasions, they've obviously got lost or maybe on purpose have taken a shortcut through our farm buildings and even coming through our own drive and garden. The disturbance from shouting, which happens, which we assume is down to the fact they've consumed, a fairly large amount of alcohol, we take as a risk both to our farm animals and our own personal security. We regularly find bottles, litter, following these weekend events thrown over the wall from people that might have been using the road or the footpath, which also runs past our small licensed campsite, and even with people trespassing onto the campsite. In fact, in one situation, our campers reported that people thought they were on the Breedy Farm campsite, didn't quite know where they were. The fact that they'd gone about almost 400 meters in the wrong direction, it's hard to believe. But anyway, that's what's happened. So, and finally, I suppose in terms of children, the safety of children, the 3-day music festivals are advertised as family events. Children of any age are welcome. So I would say that increasing the licensing hours further jeopardizes the safeguarding of those children. I think the rest of what I would have said is within the statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bailey.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming today. Before you disappear, just members of the committee, have you got any questions for Mr. Bailey?
Yes, please. I know you've mentioned about the occasions on which you've been disturbed by noise and trespassing. Have there been many occasions when you've contacted either the authority or the police to actually make formal complaints?
Environmental health, yes.
And how often is that, may I ask?
Possibly last year it would be around half a dozen times.
And they've responded accordingly?
They have asked us, well, most years actually, they've asked us to keep a log of the nuisance. And also they do request, and this is nothing to do with the alcohol, admittedly, but they do ask if they can install monitoring equipment at our premises particularly during the music festivals.
They've asked, but was that actually done?
It was done until about 3 years ago, and then the response we've had from them since, well, it's not a response, a statement we've had from Environmental Health since, is that they are not allowed to, or at least they've got no out-of-hours service to check the situation manually. And when there was a court case regarding the breach of a noise abatement order, then basically the council were criticised for not having actually visited the site themselves and wouldn't accept the data that was recorded by the monitoring equipment.
I think that's answered my question.
Yes, me too. Okay, Mr. Harris, have you got any questions?
I've got comments, but I don't have questions.
Should leave your comments to summing up then when we get there. Okay, so we're going to have the last person to speak, please, Mr. Cox. Billy. Sorry.
So only really to clarify, obviously there were mentions about the festival. We're not here to discuss the festival license. There are also concerns about music noise. Again, we're not here to discuss regular entertainment, especially from another license that's not part of this. There were comments about music being played to 4. Just to clarify, we did investigate those and they were private playings, which under the regulated entertainment under section 182 guidance, it's not licensable if you're playing music privately to your friends. So was investigated.
Obviously, it is more of an issue because we're playing music quite loud and you're in tent. It's it's
But
possibly
again,
louder than in a building.
We're here to discuss supply of alcohol. Not
Exactly so.
Yeah.
Exactly so. Yes, so would you like to introduce yourself for the recording, please, and
Thank you.
give your statement?
Yeah, my name's Paul Titley. I'm the park warden at Graston Copse Holiday Park, which is part of the West Dorset Leisure Holidays group of parks. I submitted my objection on the 16th of April. I did centre the concern on noise nuisance and public safety that had been reporting on during the 2023 and 2024 seasons, and that the applicant has not detailed how they were going to fulfil the council's objectives regarding crime disorder, public nuisance, public safety and child protection. This should all have been dealt with and detailed on part M of the application form. Apart from a copy and paste exercise saying that a responsible person will be put in place, there was no detail to say what that responsible person will be doing. I was rather, I don't know if it's dismayed or annoyed, to get a response from the licensing department, picking up on three items. Firstly, that there was no legal right for the applicant to complete section M, yet on the application form, it does clearly state that that section has to be completed, and that's in bold type. It was acknowledged that the information had been copied and pasted, and in fact, it had been copied and pasted from the original license application. So therefore, we've already proven that over the period of the last 2 years, the applicant has not been able to coordinate and control the objectives of the application form. We then picked up on the issues of public safety and entertainment noise. And as has already been mentioned today, we are saying that noise cannot be taken as part of the review, but that is one of the 4 objectives of the application. With regard to specific contraventions of the licensing objectives by the applicant, we've spoken already about social media, so we know people are travelling to the park, and I believe the applicant is probably doing the best he can to prevent the disruption that those people are causing, but it is not being policed correctly. Hence, we have the issues with late night noise, not just from the music, but from the cheering, the chanting, people having a good time. You can't really blame the customers for that. Breedy Farm proposes to deal with the protection of children by saying that under 18s will not be allowed in the complex, which is fair enough. However, the festivals do allow for children over the age of 5 years. So we need to know how those children are not going to be brought on to the premises. It cannot be a good environment for a 5-year-old to a 15-year-old in an environment where potential drinking could be going on till 4 o'clock in the morning. I do need to reflect on the noise nuisance, and I think that's correct because it's one of the objectives. And I've been reporting that now to the Dorset Council for the past 2 years, including the notification forms. Obviously affects my own holiday park customers who are coming to this area of outstanding national beauty, a quiet area where we've still got music going on to at the moment 2 o'clock and often beyond that time. Extending the licence to 4 AM will only exacerbate that situation. And for the sake of my customers and indeed myself, who has to live and work on Graston Copse, I'd ask for the licence not to be extended to 4 AM. I do, however, make it clear I've got no intention have got no requirement to stop Breedy Farm having a drinking licence and an entertainment licence. All I'm asking is for it to be done with due consideration to the neighbours, businesses and other holiday makers in this valley. Given the poor reasons by the applicant to acknowledge and remedy the contraventions, I ask that the hours must not be extended. And indeed, we perhaps look at powering the hours back to maybe 10 o'clock during the week, midnight at a weekend. So in summary, I am a little concerned that I've received from the licensing department that my reviews and notes cannot be taken into account, although they do form part of section M4 objectives. I'm further concerned as the objectives on the existing licence are not being reviewed after hours or from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock when the noise actually takes place. For the reasons of public nuisance and public disorder, I object to the licence hours being extended. And finally, I believe now is an opportunity to review and pare back the hours given on the existing licence. Thanks all for your time.
Betty, have you got any questions that you'd like to make, Mr. Tilly?
No, not at the moment.
Not from me. I would, however, like to ask Mr. Kippax to make some comments about some of the things that you've said on the application form.
Yes, so the application form doesn't say they must fill out section M. It just says, please describe any additional steps you intend to take. Those, again, like I said to you in my email, there's no legal requirement for them to actually fill that out. They don't have to. So that covers that sort of status. The comment regarding taking this opportunity to review the license, not what this opportunity is here for. We're here to discuss supply of alcohol, variation, and that's it. Any amendments or any reviews that anyone wishes to make, they can apply for a review. Anyone can apply for those things, and that's the platform to make any amendments or reviewing a license that's in place. That's it for me.
Okay. One of the things that you did mention was responsible person and possibly a contact number. I'm sort of going against the agenda now, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I'm the chairman. So, Mr. Harris, is there a telephone contact number at all that people can phone if there is being a nuisance? Not so much from the entertainment license, although obviously with that as well, but also sometimes
Yes,
people just get loud when they're enjoying themselves.
my phone number is everywhere. It's on all over the internet. It's if you Google Breedy Farm, it's my neighbours have it. Everyone has it.
Okay.
Everyone that books camping, if we've got two campers that are a little bit louder than the others, and someone's got a problem with it, they have my phone number. Everyone has my phone number.
Okay. And I suppose because it's raised here, I can ask it here rather than after you've done your summing up. But could you explain to members how, when you have the festivals, you monitor and police the young people that are also on the site?
Sorry, Chair, that's the festival is a separate licence, so it's not relevant to today.
Is it? I beg your pardon.
We have 3 premises licenses on the farm.
So therefore, your normal review would be as a standard club or pub for over 18s drinking, yes?
For an adults only campsite.
Yeah. Okay.
The festivals will be there. We have security, British Army officers who are SIA security, and that's 24 hours. And I think our next festival, 12 kids, something like that. We're not.
Well, we're not reviewing that. I think that is also something that is quite important for anybody in the public who might want to listen to this hearing to find out how that is monitored as it's been raised here today.
The children are not welcome at the bars.
No.
They can come to the festival with their parents, but not at the bars.
Okay, thank you very much. No further questions now. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to ask, the responsible person would be there to monitor whether children are being taken to the bar area and whether they're consuming alcohol of any type.
No.
So there is a responsible person on hand at all times.
During the festivals, there's 24-hour security.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I'm going to give all parties the opportunity to sum up their case, but I think, to be quite frank, we've gone through most of what we need to go through.
It's just if the applicant had any questions for the last speaker.
No.
I thought I'd raise my eyebrow and he'd sort of shaken his head. Okay, that's all. Okay, so if you would like to sum up then, Mr. Harris, if you've got anything extra you wish to say on this.
I think I'd be repeating myself, but this is purely just so after the music, people can have a nightcap, and it won't be for all the attendees. It will just be for a few stragglers thinking around. Like one more.
Sure.
Can you give the committee some idea of how much of the custom that you provide for originate after hours from the village?
Few dozen at tops.
So not excessive amounts. They don't come in hordes after 11 o'clock.
No, they don't. It's mainly my campers. And the campsite is on the east of the farm, and Grafton is on the west, and it's about, I think, 400 meters. Ready.
Yeah, just looking at, I was looking at your license again, you say no children, you're stating that no children allowed in the bar areas. Got any license says no children allowed on site unless supervised by an adult.
That's on the license.
Yep.
There is a condition on your license, but if you're not allowing children there, then you're.
Yeah,
right.
so that's why it was just sort of slightly different to what you'd said, so I just wanted to confirm that. With a challenge, yeah, you have a challenge, do you use challenge 25 or challenge 21?
Yeah, and whenever anyone, when you book, you have to be over 18 and challenge.
And look to be.
Yeah,
Do any of the people objecting wish to add any more to the statements they've read already?
Nothing from me.
In form of summing up, gentlemen?
Not for me.
I would only just add this. The only controversial aspect of this application is the extending of the hours for the sale of alcohol from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Those are unsociable hours for most people working. I don't believe for a moment that it's worth Charlie Harris keeping the bar open and running just for a few stragglers. The campsite has 95 pitches, and most of those are occupied by 2 or more people. The festivals can accommodate up to 500 on the field at Breedy Gate. So that when the festivals are on and the campsite is full, that's quite a lot of people. And he must be hoping, and I can understand why, that he can earn sufficient revenue between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. from a significant number of people to make it worth his while. And that really is the substance of our objection.
Thank you for your comments. Well, thank you, all three of you, for coming today. It's been very helpful for us to get a balance on this case. I'm now going to ask our legal advisor if all the relevant points have been addressed.
It's for our licensing officer to sum up.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. The only summing up for me is just a reminder of the steps that the subcommittee can take here, which is to modify the conditions of the license or to reject the application. That's the only steps.
Okay. Right, thank you very much. In which case, the meeting will now conclude and we will consider our decision in private. We will have the Democratic Services Officer in attendance and a legal advisor to do that. The decision of the subcommittee will be communicated to the parties by the licensing officer and made available on the council's website as soon as practical and within the prescribed limit of 5 working days. I'd just like to thank you all for coming. I'm sorry it's not the world's best room to be doing this in. It's a bit like Black Hole of Calcutta, but never mind. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your summer.
Sorry, Chair, we just need to confirm right of appeal to the applicant.
Oh, sorry, got that on another page, yes. Oh, we have. It's the last bit at the bottom. The decision of the licensing committee shall be committed to the parties and licensing offer within 5 working days. And also that you have a right of appeal to the magistrates courts if you're not happy with the decision within 21 working days. Sorry, missed that last little bit. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. We will keep our decision and let you know.